4.1 Energy Producers and Consumers. All living things must obtain energy, and all living things use energy. In this section of the book, there are two main learning objectives. 1. Define primary producers, and 2. Describe how consumers obtain energy and nutrients. This is a screenshot of part of the section summaries that are available to you in your content library as an extra resource. As we go through this section of the book, you should be able to start to fill out this concept map as we go. This slide shows 4 main vocabulary that we're going to find in this section of the book. An autotroph is an organism that is able to capture energy from sunlight or chemicals and use it to produce its own food from inorganic compounds. It's also called a producer. A primary producer is the first producer of an energy-rich compounds that are later used by other organisms. Photosynthesis is the process used by plants and other autotrophs to capture light energy and use it to power chemical reactions that convert carbon dioxide and water into oxygen and energy-rich carbohydrates such as sugar and starches. Chemosynthesis is a process in which chemical energy is used to produce carbohydrates. As you watch the video titled "Where Does Energy Come From?", take note on where energy comes from, what form it takes, and how we use energy. As you watch this really quick video, take note that it has both an autotroph and a heterotroph in it. The square, rectangular, filamentous, green organism at the top is the autotroph, and the round filamentous one at the bottom is the heterotroph. All living things need energy, but no living thing can create energy. Organisms called autotrophs capture energy from non-living sources. Autotrophs store this energy in forms that make it available to other organisms, which is why they are also called primary producers. Primary producers are the first producers of energy-rich compounds that can be used by other organisms. All life depends on primary producers. As we learn new vocabulary, it might be a good idea to start breaking words up into their prefixes and suffixes. If we break up the word autotroph into its parts, it'll help us remember. Auto means self, and troph means feeder. So an autotroph is something that is a self-feeder. Autotrophs do much more than just feed themselves. Autotrophs store energy in chemical forms that are available to other organisms to eat them. That's why autotrophs are also called primary producers. The energy for most life on Earth comes from sunlight. Algae and plants absorb solar energy through the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis uses light energy to power chemical reactions that convert carbon dioxide and water into oxygen and energy-rich carbohydrates such as sugars and starches. This process also adds oxygen to the atmosphere and removes carbon dioxide. Algae and plants are the main primary producers in most ecosystems. Some bacteria can capture energy from inorganic molecules such as hydrogen sulfide. These bacteria use a process called chemosynthesis, in which chemical energy is used to produce carbohydrates. In the picture on the left, you can see chemosynthetic bacteria that thrive in places of total darkness and high temperatures, such as Earth's crust and volcanic vents in the ocean floor. They are also found in underground streams, caves, and the mud of tidal flats. Primary producers that obtain energy from sunlight do so through the process of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis captures light energy and uses it to power chemical reactions that convert carbon dioxide and water into oxygen and energy-rich carbohydrates such as sugars and starches. Photosynthetic bacteria, usually cyanobacteria, are also important primary producers in ecosystems such as tidal flats and salt marshes. The equation for photosynthesis is 6CO2 plus 6H2O yields C6H12O6 plus 6O2. So in more general terms, the equation is carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight and photosynthetic plants yields glucose and oxygen. This is a good place to stop and use this graphic organizer to determine how well you've learned the information we've covered so far. This is a screenshot from the extra resource that I have put for you in your OneNote library called Section Summaries. This is another part of that extra resource. It's a screenshot, again, of the importance of vocabulary. Heterotrophs are organisms that obtain food by consuming other living things and are also called a consumer. A consumer is an organism that relies on other organisms for its energy and food supply, also called a heterotroph. Detritus are small pieces of dead or decaying plant or animal remains. Animals, fungi, and many bacteria cannot capture energy directly from sunlight or inorganic sources. These organisms, called heterotrophs, acquire energy from other organisms, usually by eating them. Heterotrophs are also called consumers. Consumers are organisms that rely on other organisms for energy and nutrients. Consumers are classified by the way they acquire energy and nutrients. Carnivores eat other animals. Herbivores eat plant leaves, roots, seeds, and fruits. Omnivores, such as humans, eat both plants and animals. Scavengers eat carcasses of dead animals. Decomposers feed by chemically breaking down organic matter. This produces detritus, which is small pieces of dead and decaying plant and animal remains. Detritivores chew or grind detritus into smaller pieces, often digesting the decomposers that live on the detritus. Pause the PowerPoint slide video now, log on to your online textbook, and complete the online textbook interactivity called Producers and Consumers. Many organisms do not fit neatly into one category. For example, some carnivores, such as hyenas, will scavenge. Many aquatic animals eat a mixture of algae, animal carcasses, and other organic matter. Consumers in one category may differ from one another in subtle ways. Herbivores may eat different parts of plants. Different plant parts often contain different amounts of available energy. Fruits and seeds are easy to digest and contain a lot of energy and nutrients. Leaves are plentiful but hard to digest and poor in nutrients. No multicellular organism by itself can break down the cellulose molecules found in leaves. Animals that eat leaves have cellulose-digesting microorganisms inside their guts. Some grazing animals, such as cattle, spend a long time chewing their food into pulp. When they swallow the pulp, it goes into a part of their digestive tract that has microorganisms that can break down cellulose. Many grazers regurgitate the mixture of food and bacteria called cud. They chew the cud and swallow it again. With all this extra work, grazers extract only a small amount of energy from the plants they eat. They must spend a lot of time eating.